up, everybody? This is Bems.
And this is Ace, and this is Serving Up the Tea, episode 9.
Nueve.
We are in the thick of it. The year is winding down. Everybody, it's a scramble. It's insanity. It's crazy on the tour. Bems, what's tea?
Okay, what's tea for me this week? There's been a change at the very top of the WTA rankings.
Major change.
Nobody really saw it coming. I mean, I definitely didn't. Neither Sabalenka nor Swiatek played last week. Neither of them had any points to defend from the 2023 season. But Sabalenka has overtaken Swiatek for that number one spot.
Yeah, I actually didn't think it would happen because the gap at one point seemed so wide between the two of them.
I thought that they were going to have to duke it out at the WTA finals. But let me tell you what happened. So, Swiatek started last week at 9,785 points. Sabalenka had 9,716 points. But you know that this year on tour, WTA 500 level tournaments became mandatory, and you have to play at least 6 in a year. Otherwise, you're penalized. So, Swiatek has only played in 2 WTA 500 events, the United Cup back in January in Australia, and the Stuttgart Open, also known as the Porsche Grand Prix in Germany, the indoor clay tournament. Sabalenka has played in 4, Brisbane, also in Australia, Stuttgart, Berlin, and Washington, D.C. Now, what ends up happening if you don't meet the 6 tournament quota is that you start to get deducted points based on your worst performing result that season. Now, this happened this week because neither Sabalenka or Swiatek are entered to play in any tournaments up until the finals in Riyadh. So the deduction happened this week. It seems a bit random, but it's because they're not playing Tokyo. They're not playing anything else that's coming up. So Swiatek's worst performance this year was at the Miami Open, which is a 1,000 level tournament.
Yeah.
And she had earned 120 points because she lost in the 4th round. Now, Sabalenka's worst performance was in the 2nd round of the Dubai Open. So her deduction was less points than Swiatek's deduction. So after the points drop, Swiatek found herself with 9,665 points, while Sabalenka has 9,706 points. And that is how she overtook her for the number one spot without playing anything and without dropping points from a tournament that she played. Now, what is confusing to me about all this is I get the coaching changes, I get all that stuff, but I think we all know how much Swiatek likes being year-end number one. I think it's so interesting how she just kind of like sat there and let this happen because she didn't play since the US Open. She skipped like 2 full months at this point. She skipped 2 Masters 1000 tournaments, one of which she was the defending champion. I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Swiatek. She definitely is closing out the year a bit slower than most people. Maybe that's strategic. Maybe that's like her recovery schedule. Maybe they always plan to have a slow end of year once she qualified, which she clearly has qualified for the WTA finals. But yeah, I didn't actually know that they were about to deduct points from Iga and Sabalenka, and then that would close the gap. But I don't know. I think it's time for Sabalenka to be number one. I think she deserves it. She's been sitting in that number 2 spot for so long.
She was number one for a bit before, but so she tweeted, she was like, number one, let's see for how long this time.
So funny that she's able to laugh at herself.
Yeah. But anyway, what's tea for you?
For me, the tea is that Mira Andreeva reached her first 500 level final and
She
was
did.
a total brat the whole way through.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the first set, which she lost, tears. My girl was bawling on the court, but somehow still playing her A game because she fought till the very end. One, she was playing really great tennis, but it's something about that Kasatkina that just throws people off. When Kasatkina is on, people seem to just get patchy. And Mira started missing a lot. I think Kasatkina's ball is so spinny that it like it's really hard to control. And Mira plays with a lot of topspin as well. But I think it goes back to like having experience. Of course, this is her first time. She's so young, and I've been talking about her all year.
Yeah.
Waiting for this moment, waiting for her to show her true colors, which is not brat, but finalist. And then she cried through the whole ceremony. I love it. I can so relate from one crybaby to another. I feel
like it's the way for her to like steady the ship when she has like too much tension. I think
she just releases it with a few tears.
Crying is like, it seems to be like a coping mechanism for her, which is interesting.
Very interesting, yeah, because, you know, culturally, generally, in a lot of cultures, I can't speak for the Russian culture, but on our end, like a lot of people have negative connotations of crying, and she just seems to like let it out and continue playing through it, which other crybabies around the world, I'm sure that resonates with them.
Yeah, sometimes you need a good cry, to be honest.
During the ceremony, she cried. She gave such a cute speech where she was so gracious as a loser, but then also like, you know, she's coming back for more.
Kasatkina like ran up on stage to comfort her though when she was like breaking down. That was
because she's
cute.
Like the baby on tour.
Yeah, and I think they're compatriots, right? They're both Russian. I think they know each other. They've played together. So it was very cute. I thought that was a very sweet moment.
Daria is just known to be one of the sweetest people on tour. She's has the
sweet.
best vlog ever. Hoping one day we can catch her while vlogging. Like if we ever go to a tournament, I'm hopping in that bitch.
No, for sure.
So yeah, that's my what's tea is that we have a brat who just made it to the final.
Did you see Andreeva's congratulatory post to Kasatkina?
Absolutely. She said that bitch took the final.
I thought that was so funny.
I think it's funny how she's very much aware that she's one of the youngest girls on tour and she can like get away with saying things like that. I love that for her.
She's a baby.
I love it when young people know the limits that they can test and they go ahead and test
and they test them. Yeah, for sure.
Love it.
Let's get into some match point musings. Do you have any this week?
Yes, I do. Well, on the women's side, we had Zhang and Sabalenka playing the final of the China Open, which was exciting for a number of reasons. A few weeks ago, our What's Tea was like talking about Zhang and her attitude and how the other players aren't really getting along with her. Emma Navarro had a huge issue with her. And since then, I feel like we've been monitoring her vibe. She definitely has doubled and tripled and quadrupled down on this, like, I don't like to be number two. And so she's going to be sour every time because her body language was so cold after that loss to Sabalenka in the final, which would have been a super tough loss because they're in China. She's on her home court. And really,
she wasn't able to win in Beijing.
She wasn't able to
either.
convert.
So it's like back to back, yeah.
Back to back, big disappointments. But she definitely has shown over the past few months that she's not the most sportsman-like.
So here's my thing. I have a couple things about Zhang in particular. So I don't know if you saw the match between her and Leylah Fernandez, where she basically had words with Leylah's box. She was receiving and she was standing in front of Fernandez's box. Fernandez was up 40-30. And right before the deuce point, she like turns to Fernandez's box and like says something, right? So Fernandez seems like a bit rattled. She loses that game. Like it goes to deuce, it goes to advantage Zhang, she wins, whatever. Then she like asks Zhang like, what did you say to them? What did you say to the box? And Zhang was like, he's talking too much or something. And then Fernandez is like, well, you have to talk to the umpire. So then she speaks to the umpire. She's like, she can't do that. So the umpire says to Zhang, you have to, if you have an issue, you have to speak to me. Fernandez actually only won 2 more games after that interaction. I think it like completely threw her off. During the match, actually, the commentator said Fernandez's dad is quite vocal, and she passed a comment like, who knows what he was saying that obviously like upset Zhang. So it looked more likely that Zhang was replying to something that was said to her. Anyway, post-match, they asked Zhang like, what happened there? She was like, the dad was cheering too much and that every time she was about to return, he'd be like, come on, like before she starts returning, and it was distracting her. So she turned to him and said, must you talk before I start to return? And I think the dad like responded to her, and it became like a back and forth.
I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
But yeah, so then that happened, right? And that was like, okay, we can make arguments for that because, you know, she was responding to something. She didn't do it the right way in accordance to the rules, but she should have spoken to the umpire, whatever, no. However, she was being antagonized or she was disturbed. In the final versus Sabalenka.
Yeah, I was going to say there was other incidents. So maybe she was right on that one, but there were some other strange incidents with the final.
Sabalenka hit a perfect lob. Zhang is running back to the baseline to try and get the lob to return it back. Misses it completely. She's not able to get there. The ball beats her completely. She starts yelling at the line judge, claiming that he was obstructing her play.
Yeah, and in the replay, you can clearly see.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing how far
she
away the line
was
judge was
so
from
far,
her.
and it was like, girl, you need to chill.
And she was like screaming at him.
It was very unbecoming as a lady for her to be in public screaming like that. Do you get? So to close out this convo, Irina Sabalenka did an interview where they asked her, what does she think and how does she feel about the Chinese fans calling her the mountain that Zhang is yet to overcome? And her response was so funny. She was like, I'm going to continue working to make sure that you will not overcome this mountain. So said, so done. Won the final. And Zhang was mad.
I have a match music about her match with Coco. And it's less about Sabalenka and more about Coco. Coco served 21 double faults in that match.
That was crazy to watch. It was so crazy.
But Sabalenka did not beat her handedly. Like, it wasn't like a thrashing. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know how strong the other elements of your game have to be to serve 21 double faults and it's not a blowout?
Yeah, I mean, clearly they fixed the forehand and that was like something
her
clicked.
Her forehand was firing.
It was firing so good.
Sabalenka made a very cute comment. She was just like, yo, as she was watching her like drop serve and stuff, she was like, I feel you, girl. Because you remember after Sabalenka's dad passed away, she had the yips with her serve and could not serve. I think she actually had to take time off tour because she literally couldn't serve.
There were matches where Sabalenka just was like hitting. It wasn't even like fault on the other side of the net. It was like the ball was hitting her side of the court. It was the craziest thing. She could not serve at all.
It was completely mental. She said it. She was like, she felt so much pressure after, you know, her dad had passed because she hadn't won the Grand Slam as she promised him and stuff. But her like being able to commiserate and identify with what Coco was going through, she literally said, I was playing that match thinking, girl, I feel you like nobody else. This is really tough, but I know if she overcomes this serve situation, she already is one of the best players. I'm pretty sure she's going to be one of the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, Coco is sitting at number 3 spot.
She's back. Yes, she's back. Because she dropped to 6 or 5, no?
Yeah, she had dropped for a little while. I mean, there was that lovely time last year, towards the end of last year, where she was number 2 after winning the US Open.
That was like a wink. It was like
a blip of time. But I was going to say the gap between 2 and 3 is still pretty large.
Huge.
But I think with the forehand being fixed, this serve issue, I feel like it's a one-time thing. I hope it's a one-time thing. And that when that clicks back into play.
It was happening throughout the tournament. It wasn't just in the match against Sabalenka.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, okay, the forehand's been an issue all season, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that this does not become the new issue. That this is just this tournament, the serve is off and they're going to go back, reconfigure it and come back for the finals.
I really enjoyed Wuhan though, like as a tournament. I thought it was really fun. Sabalenka gave a really good statement on the popularity of tennis and she actually thanked Qinwen Zheng for winning the gold medal because she feels like the stadiums are fuller, people are more excited about tennis, and she recognizes that it's a direct result of Qinwen's success on tour and especially winning the gold medal. I thought that was cute. Sabalenka is very sportsmanlike, I will say that.
She is, and that's why I say her being in a number 1 spot is good for tennis because she is an ambassador of the sport. I mean,
She had those issues where she was down talking women's tennis, but she's since course corrected and been.
she has very much. I was gonna say we did speak about that earlier this year, where she made that statement about does she watch women's tennis or men's tennis, and it was a little awkward for a second, but I think she's proven to be the ambassador that tennis needs right now.
For sure.
I think Zhang needs to get over herself a bit.
Do we need Zhang to be nice though? We don't need her to be. What do we need her to be nice for?
This is my
We
thing.
don't need her to be
if she's
nice.
gonna be bad, I need her to be real bad, and I also need her to be bad and winning. That's just
She
me though.
wins. She
No, no,
wins.
no, no. She needed to make noise in that final, be problematic, and then come back and win it.
The final was one of her best performances against Sabalenka so far. She,
Thus far, yeah, because that's the mountain she can't overcome.
but I think she's improving. I think she's beating people. Come on, she's winning. She's not maybe
doing
taking
well.
home every title every week, but she's doing well. She's doing well.
Doing well.
And I think we need a diversity of personalities on tour.
Yeah.
Like, come on, we don't need her to be nice. It's not taking anything away from us that she's not.
Okay,
nice.
so real quick, who in the top 10, who has the most bland personality?
Swiatek.
What? No.
Who?
Jessica Pegula.
Don't do that to my girl Jessie, actually, because we will fight. I love Jessica. Don't play with me. Bye. Find some business because you ain't mine. What?
Love Jessica too, but in terms of, okay, noticeable and like distinguishable personalities on tour, and it is not Iga. Iga is known to be like the happy-go-lucky.
Jessica has more of a personality than Swiatek. Please. Don't even.
Okay,
don't tell
wait.
me
No, I
anything.
have to take it back. I feel like I know
What?
who it is. I feel like I know
Who?
who it is. Hold on. That we'll all agree. It's Elena Rybakina. She
But we can't
definitely
actually
is
say
kind
that
of
because
like.
she's been being terrorized by her coach. So let's allow her. Maybe we'll see a
Oh
new side
God,
of
I
her.
forgot. Yeah, we have to be kind.
Let's.
I really
You
hope
know.
she gets through that.
Somebody whose personality I actually don't really like is that Haddad Maya. I don't actually like her.
Something about her irks me, rubs me the wrong way. My blood just doesn't take to her. Are you familiar with that phrase?
Your blood doesn't take to her? No, I've never heard that before.
It's essentially my blood, like she crawls my blood or something. Caribbean version.
Yeah.
But yeah, my blood doesn't take to, what's her name?
Haddad Maya.
Haddad Maya. But she's really popular in her side of the world. I feel like she is that tennis ambassadress for South America and for like Portuguese speaking world. Yes, that's how you say female ambassador. Do you wanna run to Google real quick?
I don't.
I'll do
I
myself just to make sure.
No, that's fine. Ambassadress. We'll take it. I love Paulini's personality. I love Goff's personality. I love Sabalenka's personality. I love Zhang's
Isn't ambassadress
personality.
in French?
I was gonna let you have it. You went to look it up. So
But
I
it's
don't
in
really know
French,
what-
right?
I don't think that's true.
It is. And you are a fluent French speaker. Have you never had to say
I
the
guess
feminine
not.
of ambassador?
Unfortunately, no, at this time. But I'll find a way to work it into conversation next time I'm speaking in French, darling.
I find ways all the time.
Let's talk about the Ningbo Open, though.
Let's talk about it. Hold on, let me pull up my Ningbo page.
Before the tournament even started, Pegula withdrew, Paulini withdrew, Zhang, Navarro, Ostapenko, Collins, Zachary were all out.
It was kind of a mess of a tournament.
7 lucky losers entered the draw. Jacqueline Christian, who lost in round 1 of qualifying, entered the draw with a bye because she replaced Qinwen Zhang, who had a bye. Can you imagine? That is literally the definition of lucky loser. You lost in round 1 of qualifying.
And you get to come back and play
with a
in round of
bye.
16. That's an automatic $13,000. She was going home with maybe $2K before. That's a big jump.
I mean, she had to play Mukhova, which, I mean, that was tough.
Yeah, it
but,
wasn't happening.
but anyway, rain every day.
Yeah.
Krejcikova retired in the quarterfinal. Both of the semifinals had retirements. after the first set.
Yeah. Badosa and
Badosa was getting her blood pressure checked on court. Mukhova lost her hip.
It just lost. She couldn't find it.
And then, of course, we had the final Kasatkina versus Andreeva. But I was just like, what is going on here?
What is going on in Ningbo?
What is going on in Ningbo? Speaking of Andreeva, this was a matchup music I had from Wuhan, like leftover from Wuhan. I didn't get the hype of Andreeva versus Andreeva sister matchup. Da 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 da. They really hyped that. What was that hype for?
You didn't find it was hype? The hype for me is, okay, you have the younger sister who's seeing so much success this year. Then you have the fact that they're actually related, and obviously there's
But Erica is not that good. It's not like the Williams sisters where they were.
But she came and beat her
good.
sister.
That's because she probably used mind games. That's her older sister. Like,
I think she did actually, and I thought it was pretty mean because as a big sister, I was like, how could you do that?
Speaking of siblings, so you know all this hype around Jamie Alcaraz, Carlos's little brother. Did you see Carlos's statements on it? Carlos was like, "Listen, like you guys need to leave my brother alone and let him grow
let
up
him
without
develop
the added
in
pressure."
Because he's like 13 years old.
Literally, he was like, "Stop all the social media posts about him. Stop talking about him. Don't put pressure on him. Let him do his thing." I love that.
Very mature, but also never gonna happen. Sorry,
also,
Carlos
like,
Alcaraz.
If you didn't want that to happen, you shouldn't have been so good at tennis.
Shouldn't have been so good. You should have. I don't know. It just is what it is.
A match point musing that we cannot not discuss is Big Foe, Francis Tiafoe, Shanghai Masters, cussing the daylight out of the umpire at the end of his match.
Yeah, I mean, the umpire really done fucked up.
Okay, well.
Not saying that Francis was correct, but
I actually don't think he's been fined yet. I haven't seen anything about a fine for him. Yeah, I haven't seen anything
I feel
about
like
a
the
fine
ATP buried that one. They buried it because he is also like such a positive personality on tour. Pardon?
Yeah, he apologized almost immediately.
He apologized almost immediately because that was super out of character for him. Like, yes, he's gotten upset before, but Francis Tiafoe has never stepped out of character like that.
I didn't actually watch the match, but from everything I was seeing online, people were saying that the umpire was actually being unfair to him. It was actually being very rude, very dismissive, wasn't being nice to him at all. So I think he genuinely felt like the guy had, as he said, effed him over in the match.
Yeah, I watched some of it once Alagbe let me back in the DSTV. I had to complain that I was locked out. Yeah, I also got frustrated along with Francis Tiafoe, and yeah, my view is that the umpire fucked up, and that's what you get. Unfortunately, he will be fined, and I really did think that it was very it was a stain on his really positive persona. But I also think that because he's so positive and he's such a great guy and he apologized immediately, people are going to forgive him, which I think they have.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be like that was clearly an out of character moment.
Yeah. Did you see Zverev telling the umpire that he loses in Grand Slam finals because of them?
That was I had secondhand embarrassment when he said that. I cringed.
Tsitsipas also got into a back and forth with the umpire saying that he's always really good about the time, but he gets over penalized and stuff. And the umpire was trying to explain to him that, listen, like, it's not me. I don't have control. It was like, I think the new towel time change thing and stuff. Tiafoe's was different. His was because he was pretending to throw up the ball, because basically when the serve clock stops, when you start the service motion, so he was throwing up the ball, but it was quite obvious that he wasn't actually about to serve. But you can't tell him that. Like, the
umpire was rude about it. The umpire was like, I'm not buying it.
Yeah,
Sir?
but you can't. Yeah, like the rules are not explicit, as in the umpire
without
decides
a shadow of a doubt.
That was weird of him.
Is that the phrase, shadow of a doubt?
Without a shadow of a doubt. Yes, that's correct. Where are you bringing out all these phrases from today?
That will not hold up in court, Mr. Umpire. I'm not buying it. I just want to add that there have been so many issues with umpires on court this year.
Yeah.
That I feel somebody had to round it out with a big FU.
Several FUs, actually. There were several FUs.
That FU was for everybody who has experienced weird calls this year. We had so many during the clay court season.
It was from his heart, yeah.
We had Felix Auger-Aliassime with that ridiculous call with Jack Draper a few tournaments ago. I mean, there've just been so many moments, and nobody has really put that FU on their back, and so Francis Tiafoe had to let it out.
Obviously, we had the a couple other tournaments happening. The ATP 250 in Kazakhstan, where Gabriel Diallo went on a run. He went all
with
the
a new
final.
haircut.
Yeah, buzz cut. It could have been done better, but we'll allow it for now.
Man, he was in the middle of Asia.
Fair. We also had I have a matchmap musing from Stockholm. Tommy Paul versus
hold on. That was the hottest final I've seen in a while.
Darling.
Tommy?
Grigor Dimitrov in that pink, giving it his all. Tommy with that grown out beard.
Ooh, with the all black fit?
No, Tommy versus Dimitrov. It was super hot. It was hot,
and the level was high. Like, they were playing great tennis. I was like, is this a Grand Slam? It was a 250.
It was good.
Bills have to be paid at the end of the year. People have to understand.
Tommy has an influencer girlfriend to keep up with. Like, he has to maintain his lifestyle, please.
Dairy Boy needs investment.
You saw he was in the ad. I think they're releasing like a men's line, and he's like in the ad for it or something. They did like a I was really annoyed by that, but anyway. But another thing that happened in Stockholm that was really cool was Wawrinka went on a run all the way to the semis. He's turning 40 in like 5 months. I was like, this is crazy of you. Where is this coming from? Stan the man. He looked good though. He was playing really well. With Tommy's win in Stockholm, he has a chance to qualify for the ATP finals, but he doesn't care about that. He was like, I'm not too focused on the ATP finals. I want to end the year in the top 10. So that's his focus at the moment. If he gets to the finals, he gets there, but that's not really what he's working towards.
Yeah, but like if he gets to the finals and gets the adequate amount of points, that also means his ranking would go up. I don't understand how the two are separate goals.
He just said that that's not his focus. It's not a goal of his. Like, if it's a byproduct of what happens, that's fine. He's 3 spots away now, and he doesn't think
he's at a career high, right?
I
believe it's a career high for Tommy Paul. He's at what, number 12?
Mm-hmm.
And then Grigor, who's on his big resurgence, is sitting comfortably within the top 10. This year has been incredible.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about some matchmap musings from the Six Kings Slam in Riyadh. Medvedev made, well, reportedly, because we don't know how much anybody actually made, but if the reports are correct, he made $1.5 million, and he only played for 1 hour and 9 minutes, which means he made $21,739 per minute in his loss to Yannick Sinner. So...
yeah, I mean, the Saudis really put on for tennis. I want you guys to realize, like, no other, they call it a slam, but I really am having a hard time using that terminology.
It's an exhibition match, regardless of what they want to call it.
It's an exhibition match, but, like, the amount of money that they put behind it is, like, give them a Grand Slam in the Middle East, please.
So at the end of Djokovic and Nadal's match, the minister that put on the thing was like, I have a small gift for you to Nadal, and it's a solid gold tennis racket. I said, okay.
Man, I can't be mad at them. Because if anybody deserves a solid gold tennis racket, it's Rafael Nadal.
Yeah. So
this week's net-worthy news.
There's nothing more net-worthy than the retirement of the one, the only, Rafael Nadal.
Yeah, I mean, we've been anticipating this all year, right? He started off the year, what was it, in Barcelona, where he had that big parade. And he said, you people should stop parading, okay? Because they're about to do it every time because no one knew when the retirement was coming. He said, you guys should stop. He's not retiring. You almost had to completely, like, pull back on the whole retirement conversation. And I think it's been such a tough season that he really had to sit and accept that this might be the last.
You know, he's never broken a racket before.
And I don't understand how.
Babolat actually came out and said in the 25 years of their collab, he's carried 125 different bags, always on his right shoulder, never broken any of his 1,250 pure aero rackets. He's applied 54,000 feet of VS original overgrip himself
In under 11 seconds.
and used 186 miles of RPM blast strings.
There's really no one with that level of aura on the tour.
His final record at Roland Garros, 112 wins, 4 losses. 112 wins, 4 losses, and 14 titles. You can't.
It's very crazy.
They're not doing it like him. You're not, doing it like Rafa. You're not.
They're not coming out to be clay court specialists. They're not coming out.
Nadal is going to end his professional tennis career at the Davis Cup in Malaga alongside Team Spain.
Yeah,
which is very, very poetic.
Yeah,
considering his one of his most memorable matches was that win against Andy Roddick at the Davis Cup as well, all those years ago. When they asked him if he's going to play singles, he said, "I'm going to try to get ready as best as possible, but I'm only going to play if the captain believes I have more chances than the other players. Not because I'm retiring, because this isn't my farewell. This is the Davis Cup." And honestly, is there anything more Rafa than this?
He's there for his country. He's not there for self. He's just completely selfless with it. Like,
they don't make them like him anymore.
He understands the assignment. I wanted to bring up something that was circulating the internet. That was a beautiful Rafa moment, which was when the first time him and Djoko played at a Grand Slam final, and obviously he beat Djokovic. And I heard that there's very little footage of this moment, but Rafa went over to console Djokovic because this is when Djokovic was now becoming prominent. So it was a tough loss for him because, at that time, Rafa and Federer were like the guys to overcome.
Yeah.
And Rafa went and consoled him, and it was just so beautiful. And that's just the essence of who Rafa has been on the tour for the past 20-something odd years. Like, you can't be mad at him.
On the other hand, in networthy news, Danielle Collins is not retiring. And this is so funny because you kept saying all season long, like, she's not going to retire. She's not going to retire. I hope she does retire. I hope she's right. And I'm like,
no, she said she's not going to change her mind. Don't talk about it because she said she doesn't want you guys to talk about it. She's retiring. There's nothing you guys can do about it.
And then all of a sudden we see her on the United Cup entry list, like before the deadline. Everybody's like, wait, what's going on? Why is Danielle Collins? Like, and she also, mind you, hasn't really said anything after her early loss at the US Open. Like, we haven't really heard from her. She's just been withdrawing from things or whatever. And then here she comes talking about some.
Yeah, I mean, she had us on an emotional roller coaster this year. First, it was Danielle Collins is retiring. Then she comes and wins. She won Miami, right?
Whole bunch. Yeah,
she won a lot. She did a lot this year. That was so surprising, and it was such a resurgence for her. And yes, I have been saying that bitch is not retiring. She's staying right where she is.
You said it so many times.
But I wasn't sure because her reason for retirement was so genuine and so deep, and
it's fair. Like, as a woman, these are choices that you have to make.
Exactly. And she's shared her struggles with fertility, conceiving, endometriosis, and that, playing professional tennis seemed to have a negative impact on all of that. And her dream was to start a family. I think this brings to mind that struggle that women have when they're choosing between career and family life, especially when your career is so physical. So I definitely
so time consuming, all the travel, all the up and down. Unless your partner is traveling with you, when are you even doing the stuff to have the baby?
I don't know. I can't say.
Do you know what I mean? They're always on the road.
They're always on the road. They're driving from this one to that one. They're in Asia. They're in Russia. Next thing, they're going to Mexico for a tournament. There's a 125. If your name is Navarro, you might be there. Oh, it's crazy. So I felt for Danielle, and I'm just super happy that she's staying on tour. I would also be equally as happy if she came to tell us that, she's moving on and her dream is coming true of her having her family,
child, yeah.
whatever route she takes in going
To
about
do that,
making
yeah.
a family. So Danielle Collins, we are here for you, girl.
At 38, Richard Gasquet announced in an interview with L'Equipe that he has decided to end a 22-year career at Roland Garros in May 2025. I think it's really poetic that him and Nadal are retiring at the same time, but this adds to the long list of retirements this year. Angelique Kerber also said goodbye to the tour. Dominic Thiem, who just had his
she did?
ceremony in Vienna. Yeah, Kerber's retiring
When?
at the Olympics. Do you remember? She went on the run of the Olympics.
Ah, yes. And then she said she's
Yeah.
finished. Right.
Andy Murray also retired. Diego Schwartzman, Shelby Rogers, Filip Krajinovic, Elise Cornet, and Joao Souza, who actually is now the new voice of players on the ATP Tour. They've named him the director of player communication. He speaks 6 languages fluently and is like really cool with everybody on tour. Yeah, so he's like perfect for the role.
Perfect for the role.
On the other hand, speaking of retirements, both Venus and Djokovic are like, no, Venus is like, she's not done with tennis, so shut those retirement rumors down. Djokovic said, I feel sorry for those who want me to retire because they will have to see me for a while longer, period.
He said, my knee is reconstructed.
He said,
and y'all can hate all you want.
But that's it on the retirement chat for Networthy News. Something that I find really cute, Garbine Muguruza met a guy 3 years ago when she was playing at the US Open. They got married recently.
Yeah, he was a
I
fan
thought-
and asked for a photo.
Yeah.
And then they
they're
went on
married.
a date. And now
Yeah.
3 years later, they're married.
Yeah.
I just want to say, God, when?
Okay.
When is the fairy tale starting for others? I see what you have done for...
I'm pretty sure you're afraid of Central Park, so I don't see you walking through there to meet someone randomly.
Yeah, I'm afraid of big New York parks.
So, but yeah, the WTA and ATP tours are voting on a merger.
No, I don't want it. I can already tell you. I don't want it.
It would be an 80-20 split, which doesn't look great considering they're trying to talk about equity between the male and female tours.
I don't want to have the conversation.
We'll come back to
No,
this
I don't
next
mean
week.
you. I mean, like, I don't want the WTA to even have the conversation with the ATP because
But they need it though. They need it though. Listen, the commercial reality is clear. Filed accounts from 2022, the WTA's income for that year was 90 million pounds, whereas the ATP's income from that year was 238 million pounds. They need them.
Yeah, we might be broke.
They do. They need them, you know?
I need the girls to get to work.
It's going to be complicated either way, though, because they now have to like combine data rights and TV rights. And WTA has deals that are running all the way through 2026 and 2029. So it's a lot of stuff to work through. We'll see how the vote goes. But I think it's an interesting first start. It's also kind of really quieted that whole premium tour thing that they were trying to do. Do you remember that a while ago? The head of the ATP was trying to push this premium tour thing with the Saudi backing.
I mean, that's kind of what they got, but the Saudis just did it on their own with the Six King Slam. They were like, we don't have time to wait for you guys.
But I feel like as much as I enjoyed watching the Six King Slam, there wasn't a lot of energy around it. It was kind of flat. It very much seemed like what you said last week, like just like a rich guy's fantasy. You know, it didn't seem, there wasn't zhuzh.
There was not dynamism.
Yeah.
Because do you know why? There was no
tell me. underdog.
You need an
Yeah.
underdog. Even if you're constructing a scenario.
What did that happen,
you
Runa?
need- No. He doesn't consider. You need someone who considers themselves like, yo, I'm going into the situation. Everybody thinks I'm going to win. Everybody thinks I'm going to lose. Sorry.
Underdog.
I need to come over it. Holger Rune does not have that mentality.
And he
He
should.
very much thinks that he's up
Period.
there.
Period.
And he is. Because he was previously number 4 in the world. Not too much
Yeah,
on
he
my
was.
guy.
Not too much on my guy. Final bit of networthy news is that Wimbledon is removing line umpires and will be using electric line calling and AI going forward. So we're not going to see the people in their polo fits.
This is what I'm saying.
Anymore.
Who asked for that? Because that is all
in
part
accordance
of the
with
aesthetic.
ATP rules.
Oh,
You have to have EC everybody by 2025, so it's happening. They're also changing the time of the women's and men's singles finals from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and doubles will now be before them at 1 p.m. So then that means that in the US, where you know they have that whole thing like breakfast at Wimbledon, it's going to be like brunch at Wimbledon because it's going to be like 11 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. But that means most people won't watch the doubles final because it's going to be at 7 a.m.
really? Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's
6
hard
a.m.
out here for
actually.
doubles players.
Yeah, but we love them. Although we don't have any doubles trouble this week, but we still love them, guys.
I don't know what is going on the doubles end.
But let's step into the players box.
I feel like
Okay.
there was a point in the year where
Yeah.
everybody fired their coach.
Everybody.
There was a huge reshuffle, and now we're seeing like where the dust is settling, where people are falling into place. So Naomi said that her time with Wim is over.
Yeah. She said thanks, but no thanks, essentially. Because she wrote a long caption like, oh, thank you so much for everything. Na 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 na. Then she's like, bye-bye. And then signed
Then
up
she
with
came out hitting hard with Murtuglu. And then who was Shuantek's coach before?
a Polish coach, Tomasz. Unfortunately, I can't pronounce his other name. But his name
We
is
don't know
Tomasz.
who he is.
He's Shantek's coach.
And they did well together. However, for
They
whatever
did, they
reason, she felt like she also needed a reshuffle. And so Wim has gone over to
Reset.
Swiatek's side.
He's worked with, as we know, like we just said, Naomi Osaka, Simona Halep, Victoria Azarenka, Klim Kleisters, Petra Kvitova, and Angie Kerber.
Some of my faves.
He has coached 3 different players to 6 Grand Slam titles and another 2 players to Grand Slam finals. The most important part, though, is that his title collection includes 2 Australian Opens and 1 Wimbledon trophy, which are the 2 Grand Slam tournaments that Iga Swiatek has not been able to win.
So maybe she's switching up the strategy to become better on the hard court. She
And the
has
grass.
shown that, yeah, and on the grass. She has shown, and they're trying to box her in as a clay court specialist, and she's trying to not be in that box.
She's trying to break out the box.
Yep, out the player's box.
I saw something online. I try not to buy like too much into tennis Twitter, but I saw something online about like some weird stuff around her sports psychologist and that they have like a really weird relationship. I want to preface this by saying this is purely speculation. I just saw this on Twitter. I didn't say that this was true. Please don't beat me up. But they said that they go on vacations together. She controls which books Iga can't or shouldn't read. She basically has made Iga a fan of like all the sports things that she likes, like Real Madrid and stuff. She may or may not be her social media admin person and like takes all her pictures. She knows her phone password. And in the Netflix scene on Breakpoint, she controls how Iga cuts her hair.
Yeah, I just want everyone to remember that boundaries are a thing for a reason. Because that just sounds weird.
So I think some of the concern was like, okay, even if she's bringing on Wim, who has all these accolades and who may be able to take her to this level, if the sports psychologist is still there, is there going to be any actual change impacted? Because she seems to be the one, you know, controlling the ship. So that's why I brought this up, not just to be like, oh, look at this, but like, if the sports psychologist is still in the box, even if she's changing out the coach and the mentality is the same, will it mean anything?
I can't say.
So I guess we'll see.
I
Yeah,
also have
I
seen
guess
these
we'll see.
reports of, you know, the incredibly close relationship that they share as psychologists, and
Apparently, like, they dress alike, wear the
Patient.
same colors and stuff.
I don't like it.
And on like a live that the psychologist went on, you could like see Iga in the background. She was like in her house. Just, I don't know.
You're
I
scaring
don't know.
me. You're scaring me. Stop.
I'm just telling you what they said. I told you I didn't say. I'm just telling you what I saw
I need to
online.
lift the
You can't
mood. I
believe
have to
every.
lift the mood. I have to bring something off tennis Twitter. Wait. Zendaya reveals that tennis players have thanked her for making tennis sexy after starring in Challengers.
Which players did that?
Why did somebody reply? Which bisexual told her this, and why was it Grigor Dimitrov? Sorry, Grigor, catch a stray. We don't know what your sexuality is, and we don't care. But this was a funny tweet.
This speaking of Dimitrov, actually, and psychologist and all this, he had like a really great press conference where he opened up about like what he's been feeling and how he wants it like more men to be able to open up. It's like a really great interview. I would recommend everybody go and watch it. But I loved it. I actually really like Grigor. Like, he's really hot and he has emotional intelligence apparently. And we really saw his EQ at Labour Cup when he was like locked in with everyone. I love
Yeah, he
him.
was
And
such
he's
a
like
great
the right
leader.
age for me personally to date.
And for
So,
me as
like,
well. And I just want him to know, like,
if
whatever
he's
you're
dealing with
battling
loneliness, we can help.
we can help. You don't have to be alone.
You don't have to.
We are very much available to be on tour.
Well and ready. I don't have any qualms doing it. Let me know.
I mean, if the question is, will I be in Kazakhstan for a final? Yes.
Ooh, you got it.
I will go with you to Kazakhstan, Grigor. All you have to do is ask.
Period. Hit us up. You know where to find us.
But on a serious note, I feel like, I love when men get into these conversations about their mental health and their mental state and being open about it and not being ashamed of having these feelings and being able to articulate these feelings.
No, for sure.
So good on him.
I want to talk about a couple career highs on both the ATP and WTA Top 100. Jack Draper is up to 18. Diallo is up to 87 with his run this week. On the WTA side, Andreeva's up to 16, which is a new career high from her last new career high 2 weeks ago.
She said back to back, honey.
Yeah, she said don't.
She said week to week, we up.
Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Kalinskaya is also like, I think 12 now or something.
I actually don't understand how Kalinskaya is where she is.
Y'all gotta stop hating on my girl. She's doing her.
It's not hitting. I don't. You remember that clip where Sloane was like, "Where are they getting these points?" I don't know where Kalinskaya is getting these points from.
Maybe she's not getting them. Maybe other people are losing them.
It's very true. That's the thing about the rankings. It's like it can be a little bit of a.
It's a give and go.
An illusion.
Let's talk about Tokyo. It's coming up. It may have started actually.
Well, it started today.
But it started without a few people. Let me tell you about the withdrawals we had in qualifying. Lulu Sun withdrew left hip. Anisimova withdrew left hip. Stearns withdrew right foot. Towson withdrew. Burrell withdrew. Kruger withdrew with a left thigh or back injury. Siegmund withdrew. Bushka withdrew. That's just qualifying. Now main draw. Pagula withdrew. Navarro withdrew with an illness. Collins withdrew, poor health. Krejcikova, /right hip. Kazatkina, fatigue. Samsonova, don't know. Zachary, right shoulder. Kostyuk, left thigh. Vekic, ankle. Mira Andreeva has something about an age eligibility rule.
What? Where do you read that?
That's the reason that they gave for her withdrawal. So the age eligibility issue is something that Coco also faced. It prevents players from ages 14 to 17 from playing a full schedule. 16-year-olds can actually only play 12 events. She turned 17 in April, so she can play marginally more, but she can still only play 16 events, so she's not able to play any more this season. So that's why she had to withdraw.
Imagine being in the top 20 and you can only play 16 events all year. Other girls are playing 23. That says something.
Yeah.
Imagine when she comes with a full schedule.
It's going to be crazy. Elise Mertens withdrew right shoulder. Alexandrova withdrew right shoulder. Badosa ended her season as well. Osaka also withdrew and ending her season. She's not going to play the Billie Jean King Cup. She's not going to play Hong Kong either. But she is going to be on ground at Hong Kong to still do some fan activities. She said she thought she had a muscle injury in her back. But when she had an MRI in Beijing, they told her she has a bulging disc and also a tear in her abs. So now
that's very serious.
It's a race against the clock, which is crazy considering how she was playing against Coco. Like, what?
It was hitting.
It was crazy. So now we have to wait and see.
Did say at some point she couldn't go any further after the first set. Yeah.
Yeah. She played 2 sets though. She retired in the third.
Right.
Yeah, she retired in the third. So now we're racing against the clock to see if she's going to be able to get herself together before Australia, because that's really what she wants to play. So that's pretty much it for the players box on this side. I'm hoping Naomi can pull it together.
So should we hit them with some court couture?
Definitely, because my girl. Honestly, like, let me just say this, and I'm very unashamed, like, shamelessly, am so proud of myself for having the foresight to jump on the Sabalenka train when I did. What? That girl is a winner. She just got signed to Audemars Piguet.
So you knew that you knew that she was going to get this sponsorship?
No, I just knew that like
AP was going to pick?
No, I just knew that Sabalenka was a star. And I needed to clean my eyes and see the truth, because I was finding reasons to dislike her. And then I was like, you know what? You need to be honest with yourself. She's a cool gal.
There was a turning point. There was a turning point where we realized, like, no, she's that
we
girl.
like her. Yes.
Like, you can't be mad at her at a certain point. Because
you cannot.
You know what it was? It was the fact that shit kept happening to her and she still was showing up.
Resilience.
Like a bad bitch.
Baddest.
Do you remember what tournament was it where she had that red fit just in the locker room?
The US Open.
Not it being the US Open. But yeah. Moments like
She
that,
looked
I was like, okay, bad bitch. She was just prepared.
Yeah,
she came to win.
I love her personality. Like, and Audemars did a fantastic job choosing her. Like, very good.
But what I want to know is, like, you know how we have like Rolex Masters?
Mm-hmm.
When is AP gonna dive in deeper into their tennis sponsorship and have a tournament?
I would assume that Rolex has some sort of exclusivity, though. Like, I don't think that they can. I don't think Rolex is gonna
with
let
the ATP or the dub or well.
Yeah, like I don't think Rolex is gonna be like, oh yeah, Audemars, just why don't you take no.
This is why the WTA needs to stay separate and get their own, like, an AP tournament. Sounds chic.
Yeah, the Audemars Open.
Woo! No, someone pay her. She just gave it to y'all. The Audemars Open.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Yeah. What location should the Audemars Open be in?
Ooh, girl.
What's a city that screams Audemars Open?
They should do it in Cape Town because Sub-Saharan Africa needs a tournament. They need to
the Audemars Open Cape Town.
Yeah,
that would be crazy.
Sub-Saharan Africa needs a tournament, and Audemars Piguet should give it to us.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
So we need to call up our people at the WTA and let them know.
Yeah, I have them on speed dial actually, so I'm just gonna
tag the head of marketing.
I don't know when we decided to add hairstyles to Court Couture, but in any case, did you see Feast's cornrows?
I did not, and I'm, you've just put an image in my head, and I've decided already that now. I will not be watching him play because I don't think he's gonna play in them. Oh, he didn't play in them.
No. It was on Instagram. I'm about to show you.
Okay, good. I don't really want to see. I hate when cute boys switch it up, and it's like, please go back.
I'll show you right now.
Maybe he was doing a twist out.
Possibly. Please look at it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, what? The topless pic?
I kept that part as a surprise for you. I didn't want to tell you that his nipples was out.
No, the braids. What is it? The braids? They look so good.
Yeah, fine ass Feast.
Because he did the fade with it too, and then he did that thing where they do the edges. Ooh, Feast. Stop it.
Period.
No, I like that for him. He should play in them. It's giving. I don't know. I don't want to say.
I feel like they're so short and they don't have enough hang time. They're probably just gonna start unraveling on court. Like,
you think so with like all the sweat?
Yeah, like, he doesn't. It's not enough braid.
Feast looks great. Love their little chicken chestedness.
There's one more Court Couture that you need to let us know about.
Yeah, we're taking it that we were on the higher end side of things, talking about Audemars Piguet and the Audemars Open. Now, my girl Ostapenko. I mean, call her like a member of Vestiaire because she's selling gently worn items on a new Instagram
page. She kills me. I
just wonder what's going on in her head sometimes, but I do think it's just a sense of hustle. She's just like, I gotta get it anyhow. She said she once said goodbye to her.
1997.
She once said goodbye to her Adidas sponsorship to start her brand, which
Latvian girl.
I wonder how that's going.
I mean, that's not what it's called. We should probably stop calling it that, but
it has like a proper like sporty name. I can't remember it, but the colors are just so crazy. I mean, Penko, big hitter, not very big with the fashion. Can't have it all.
I'm actually not sure what her off-court fashion is like. I don't think I pay attention. I'm gonna take a look at that and get back to you next episode on what I think of her.
It's not great, but yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Let's keep it pushing.
You want to tell us what's next on tour?
It's just savage on tour because it's not that many points left, but people are gonna fight for what is left, and there's just so many 250s. They're gonna close out the. Pardon?
No, go ahead.
They're going to close out the Asian swing. They're going from Guangzhou to Tokyo to Hong Kong to Zhejiang. So they got 3
They're going to
250s,
Mexico too.
1 500. Then they have Mexico, which I don't know how that falls into the Asian swing, but I guess it's for players who aren't on the Asian swing, who maybe are on the other side of the world. And then we have the WTA finals in Riyadh, and the final listing of players has been announced.
Let's have it.
Basically, the end of year finals, it's not necessarily the top 8 players in the rankings, but it's the top 8 players for this year alone.
And the points they've accumulated during this season.
Yes, as well as all the Grand Slam winners, which is why we have Krejcikova, who's actually number 12 in the race, qualifying for the year-end finals.
Yeah, but you only qualify as a Grand Slam winner if you're able to stay in the top 20 throughout the season.
Yeah, so she couldn't be like 25 and still qualify. That sucks for someone like Emma Navarro, who is number 8. So technically, if Krejcikova...
Let's talk about Emma Navarro, who doesn't respect Quinn Rensjung as a competitor, but because of her round 2 loss, or round 3 loss, it was a round 2 loss in Wuhan, Zhang qualified over her for the WTA finals. Who respects who now? Who's a competitor now? You were bold enough to go into the post-game interview and say, yeah, I told her I don't respect her as a competitor. I think she's cutthroat. And you're not embarrassed? You don't find that embarrassing?
I mean, being cutthroat is not a crime, first and foremost.
Like,
it's not
it's not like Emma Navarro is super warm and fuzzy either. So I don't really get it.
Yeah.
Or anyway.
So Navarro is out of the year-end finals. So going to Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, we have Sabalenka, Big Lenka, Swiatek, Coco Gauff, Jasmine Paolini, Elena Rybakina, Jessica Pegula, Zhang, and Barbora Krejcikova. I think that's going to be
barring
exciting.
Anybody dropping out or pulling out, yeah. But that's what's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, if they drop out...
Has Rybakina confirmed that she's playing? Because she hasn't played anything
she
or
hasn't
said
been
anything.
playing in a long time, and I would be excited to see her play. However, I know she's dealing with her issues, which are more...
I saw that she has a temporary coach or
things.
Something. The Kazakhstan Federation had said that she has like a temporary coach for now, but she hasn't said anything, so we'll see.
Yeah, so let's see if she pulls it together in time.
Next on tour on the men's side is the Erste Bank Open, which is an ATP 500 in Vienna, Austria. That's where Dominique Thiem decided to retire.
Yeah.
We also have the Swiss indoors Basel. This is also an ATP 500. That is, I think, Felix Auger-Aliassime is the 2-time defending champion. He won in 2022 and 2023 and is trying to go for a 3-peat. He would be the first person to do that since Roger Federer.
I would love that for him.
I don't think it's going to happen. He's in poor form, but let's see. Maybe the drive and hunger to defend his title is going to bring something out of him, but he hasn't been in great form. He's been losing to clowns, as Tiafoe would say. And then we have one of your favorite type of things, the ATP 1000 Rolex Paris Masters in Bercy, for the last time being held there because it's moving to a new venue next year. Also in Paris, but a different venue. So we'll see how that goes. Djokovic is the defending champion and he has withdrawn. He will not be defending his championship. But yeah, I'm really excited for the end of the year. It feels very like lackluster, but also very like grab and go at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone is so tired and so depleted, but the people that are still fighting are scrambling. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like people are like exhausted and then other people are like, I'm leaving here with something, you know?
Mm-hmm. Because again, these points carry over next year. And so it's like, do you want to start the year with the better draw because you've worked really hard and like got the last few points of the year?
Yeah.
Or do you want to start the year struggling? That's
do you want to get direct entry into the Australian Open or do you want to have to play qualifying? Yeah,
exactly.
But before we go, I want to ask everybody to follow us on Instagram at Serving Up the Teapot and on Twitter at 2gals1serve. We post a lot. Well, we're going to be posting a lot. We're increasing our posting. But follow us. We post.
Bring it down
We
to
do
that.
post. We post.
And our posts are very
Um,
cute, okay?
They're adorable. They're adorable.
We have
if we may say so
a
ourselves.
few notable people just like looking at our content, and it makes us so happy. Every time we see people who, you know, we really look up to in the tennis community interacting with our posts, it keeps us going.
It does. And also just like our everyday, regular, degular fans, friends of the show, as it were.
Our friends who know nothing about tennis who still share.
They still share. They listen.
Shout out to Cookie
They-
one time.
Cookie
Shout
is
out
on
to
it.
Cookie one time.
She's on it.
Hey, Mystique be in them mentions.
Yeah, she's locked in. But yeah, with that, I guess it's game set chat.
Yep. See y'all. Well, talk to y'all next time.
Bye guys.
Hey.